Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have a special guest.
Hey guys, my name is Tiffany. I am a third-year school psychology student. I'll be starting internship in Northern Virginia, and I'm really excited to be here.
We posted on our IG stories if you guys had any questions for us about grad school or school psychology, and we got quite a few questions, and so we are making a two-part video. Part one will be on Tiffany's channel, which I will link down below. Okay, so I have the questions here in this little bowl. I'm going to be pulling them out, and we are going to pull them out randomly and answer them for you guys. And just before we get started, to let you guys know, we're obviously still students. We are not professionals or experts, and so these are just our opinions, what we think, and kind of like what we've learned so far. So yeah, hopefully you guys find this helpful. So question number one, is an online program more difficult? So this is an interesting question because neither of us are in a program that is online, and so we can't really provide too much information on it. So I guess we'll just give you guys what we think and how we might think it can be difficult. So I've taken online classes before, and I just don't like online courses, and so it depends on you as a person if it's something that you like to do. It can be difficult when it comes to trying to build relationships with your cohort and also trying to do get your hours in. I don't know how that would work because when you get to be in person, you build relationships and connections. So it could be a little hard in that aspect, but as far as curriculum, I don't know. I don't know how it works. Do you have anything, Tiffany?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same boat. I don't really know specific online programs. I've seen it like online, but I've never really looked at the curriculum. I just think it would be more flexible, like schedule-wise, so that might be a good, plus. And maybe it is cheaper as well because it's online. I'm not really sure. But, we have taken online classes, especially this past semester with COVID going on, and there's pros and cons, especially with the practicum experience. Like, it is a lot of hands-on training, and so I think you would kind of miss some parts of the aspect of the program.
Yeah, and I think it's important to kind of do your research as far as like your local school districts, because some districts might not I guess I don't want to say see value in an online degree, but I've heard of some districts that don't understand, like, well, how can you do it online when there's so much testing that you have to do and all of this? So do your research. I know that there is some NASP approved online programs, so ideally you might want to look into those because that kind of assures you that it is a good online program versus other ones that are not approved. But yeah, I would recommend doing a lot of research on those programs. So question number two. What obstacles get in the way of getting your work done as a school psychologist?
So I can take this one first. We're not school psychologists yet, but I know a lot of times people view their job as, getting the testing done because there's a schedule and a deadline that we have to meet. And so a lot of times when there's crisis management or like counseling, all those things that come up, it could kind of seem like a barrier to getting the testing done. Yeah. I think you also have to think about those things, as being part of your role.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's something like within the school, but I'm sure there are other things outside of school that could be a barrier to getting your work done.
Yeah, and I think also try not to burn out. So I think it's just like an obstacle of not feeling burned out and still trying to do your work. So a lot of self-care is needed. But yeah, I'm not a school psychologist yet, so I don't know too much of the obstacles that people face. If you're a school psychologist, let us know down below what obstacles you face in the field. Yeah, because I don't have too much information on that.
No, I think burnout is a really good point though. Like, you'll see a lot of students and you might get really empathetic and take that home, and that's going to bring you down. And so I'm sure it's really hard, but kind of keeping that at work or at school.
Yeah, or, trying to, I guess, quote unquote, save all of the children. I think that's an obstacle of understanding, like, we don't work in this field to save children. We're trying to help and, get them to succeed. but there's some things that are going to be out of our control, and so just coming to that understanding that we're not going to be able to solve every single problem that comes up. So next question is, what are some study tips you have? So this actually was a question that we got asked a lot, and we answered this question in our part 1 video, which is on Tiffany's channel. So go ahead and go check that one out and see what our answer was. So going on to the next question, how will we do practicum online? So that is a good question because I'm trying to find that answer myself, because I am going to start practicum in the fall. I've been trying to stay connected with our academic advisor in the program to see what our options are going to be. As of now, it all depends on our districts locally and if they're going to be taking practicum students or not, or if they're going to be doing distance learning, if we can join their meetings via Zoom. It's still up in the air, so I'm not sure, but I'm sure that they will come up with alternatives for us. I think they're really good about doing that. But do you have anything, or have you heard anything, Tiffany?
So I actually asked one of the first year students in my program, what is going on with their practicum, because they have classes coming up, and they said that our professors and the director, they're working with the school districts in the area, and it really depends on their plans. If everything's online, then maybe they can take some students and they can join meetings, or they can do some counseling or SEL. For schools that are open in person, maybe they can go and do some testing, taking precautions. And the good thing for our program is that we have a clinic where we can take clients, and that's part of our practicum experience as well. Right now it's open. They're taking a lot of precautions and safety measures, but that's kind of separate from the school district. So I think it depends on your program as well and what your practicum looks like.
I think it's all up in the air, and just, I guess, making sure you stay in contact with your, practicum supervisor or whoever, your professors, to kind of stay on the loop of what's going to happen, because I think for a lot of people it's still undecided. So hopefully they figure it out soon though. So the next question is, what are the steps to becoming a school psychologist, and how long does it take to get certified? So on average, it takes about 3 years. The first 2 years are all coursework, and then the third year is your internship. You obviously would have to apply for grad school, finish your coursework, and then complete your internship, which is 1,200 hours. And then after that, you also have to take your praxis exam and then apply for your state credential. And so again, some stuff may vary depending on where you are, but mainly that's the process. If you go to a NASP approved program, then you can apply for your NCSP. If you don't, then that's a separate process that you have to go through. But yeah, so anything that I missed, Tiffany?
No, I think that's pretty solid.
So moving on to the next question, should I have research experience to get into a grad program? What do you think, Tiffany?
I get this question a lot, and I don't know if my answer is right or not, but I always tell them it's really good to have research experience, but for a lot of EDS programs, they're very hands-on training heavy, and so they do like the research experience, but it's not a necessity. I don't know if you agree with that, or if that's right.
I don't think it's required. For most programs, I don't think you need to have research experience, unless obviously you're trying to get your PhD, then having that, it is going to be necessary. But to get into a school psychology grad program, I don't think it's required. If you can get it, then it's beneficial for you, but it's not required. So if you don't have any, I think you're still going to be fine. But again, research your program, because it can vary based on program expectations and requirements.
Yeah, and if you get the opportunity to do so in undergrad, or a lab near you, I would totally take it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to hurt you if you do, and I don't think it'll hurt you if you don't, unless your program requires you to have it. So the next question is, are there any good school psychology programs online? So I don't know too much about online programs for school psychology, but I know that on the NASP website, they have a list of all the programs that are approved by NASP, and there is some that are online, so you might want to check that out and see which ones are approved by NASP, because I think online programs can be a little tricky, and I would prefer it to be approved by NASP than not because it is online. But yeah, do you know of any programs online, Tiffany?
I've seen some like on like Google and like the NASP website. I don't really know any specifically. I was gonna let you handle this question. So.
Yeah, and I don't know of anybody that's done it online, so I don't even know, I don't have information. So unfortunately, we don't have information on this question. So I would recommend researching it and looking on the NASP website and see what programs are approved on there. Because I know that there is some, but I just don't know which ones are, good per se. So yeah. All right, so somebody asked, can school psychologists give diagnoses? Which is actually a really good question. Tiffany, do you want to answer or should I go first?
I can go first.
Okay, go ahead.
So no, they cannot give a diagnosis, but you can. So the main purpose of assessments is to place students into eligibility categories if they have a suspected disability, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's pretty much saying that they meet, the criteria for a certain disability, but you don't say they have it because we are not able to diagnose. That is not our job. And if you do diagnose someone, you can get into some legal trouble. So no, school psychologist cannot diagnose. Even if you think they might have something or you're like 100% sure, never diagnose it. We have 2 more questions. How difficult are the school psychology classes? I think it depends. Not all of them are equally as hard or as easy. Some classes that I think are hard, Tiffany might not think are hard. So it just depends. It's different for everybody.
I think when you look at a school psych program, there's some like technical classes like research methods or stats where you need to know those skills and then they kind of test you on your knowledge. And there's also classes where it's more like theoretical or, there's more critical thinking involved. I think my assessment practicum class was pretty difficult when we first started just because we had to learn how to write reports from the get-go and like how to interview parents, and it was just such a big learning curve for us that it was tough for a lot of us, especially comprehensive assessments where we had to do a lot of testing. We actually did give a diagnosis, but of course with our supervisors who are licensed.
Yeah. All right, and the last question is, what is your advice for report writing for those who are ESL learners? So I would say taking advantage of like the tutoring center that your school might have. At least in our program, I always get emails. They have like people that can help you like with writing or math or whatever it is that you need. So I think reaching out to someone that can help you with your writing. I think the more that you read like articles and textbooks and things like that, I think you start kind of like, it gets easier. But I don't know. Do you, Tiffany, do you have anything that you feel like would help?
One quick tip is to use templates. And so for different assessments and different reports, you can get different templates. And when you're on practicum or when you're in your classes, I would just get as many as you can because, of course, you don't want to just like copy and paste and like just have their name change, but like you at least have like a shell and that can kind of help guide you to, writing the report. So that's all. Helped me out a lot. I was an ESL student back in elementary school, and so templates and then just practice.
Yeah, I agree. I like the templates idea. And also, like in school, you can have your professors read over them and having like, people in your class to read over them that can help you, and just it'll get better with time as long as you continue to practice your writing and all of that. But yeah, I think template would be helpful to have it, and it's already there and somebody has proofread it and everything. So yeah, it's a good suggestion. All right, guys, so those were all the questions that we had. Like I mentioned at the beginning, part 1 will be in Tiffany's channel. We go over study tips and a few other things, so check it out. I will link her channel down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.